Before I go to any detail of this, could I just ask you for a show of hand, who of you has been involved actively in the issue of ballast water treatment on board by specifying a system, installing it, running it? Who's been involved actively? Okay, so I asked that question in order to, where should I start? And I think everybody's aware of this Ballast Water Management Convention, which is the trigger for all the ballast water questions and answers we're having at the moment. And, well, I think this has been a very painful exercise for some of us, and it's going to be a steep learning curve for many of us as soon as this is getting really into the industry and being implemented. Because what we've seen in the past decade or so is that in 2004 we had a convention, but we really did not have a full suite of suitable and practical technical solutions to address that. And that's the reason why the goalpost for ballast water treatment has been changed that many times. We've been seeing revisions of guidelines over the years. We've been seeing national regulations because the IMO didn't really get their act together with that Ballast Water Convention. We now have a regulation in the US, which is still a little bit different from the current approach that the IMO is taking, even though the IMO has changed the rules for getting systems type approved again. And so it's a very complex thing, and BEMA was actually founded to address these questions and to help the industry to give some solutions, because the discussion that we've seen so far has been very emotional, and the consequences of ballast water treatment have been quite painful for some shipping companies, because installing ballast water treatment equipment doesn't make the vessel more efficient, but it's costing money. And it even has the potential of increasing the carbon footprint of a vessel for the sake of solving a biological problem, which is just as important as to reduce emissions from a vessel. So BEMA stands for Ballast Water Equipment Manufacturer Association, and the mission of BEMA is to provide neutral information, to provide technical guidance as good as we can, and to give this advice not only to our members, but also to third parties, to administrators, to regulating bodies, and to the shipping industry. The purpose of BEMA is that we've seen it from many different angles, that the discussion on ballast water treatment has been driven by economic questions more than anything else. So what BEMA is trying to achieve is to bring this discussion back, take a step back, and bring this discussion back into a technical direction. So we try to provide technical advice on this very complex issue and try to bring a practical view, because the member of BEMAs, we are all ballast water manufacturers. To become a member of BEMA, you actually have to have at least one certified system in your portfolio. Otherwise, you couldn't become a member of BEMA. So the people you're potentially talking to really know what they're doing. And as you can see here, the leadership from BEMA, and this is also one of the things that we try to achieve as an organization, is that we have a very good spectrum of the current technologies that are present in the market, as well as regional aspects. So we have members in the US, in Europe, in Asia, and this group of people here, those are forming the current board of BEMA. So we are currently trying to steer this young organization through its infancy. And the final goal is for us, or one major goal is that we become an NGO at the IMO itself, so that we as an organization have our own word within the IMO, and that we can really contribute from a technical perspective in the discussion on ballast water treatment. The leadership is not only the board of BEMA, but there's a number of different committees, as you can see on the slide here. And what we try to do is to address all the aspects of the typical work of a industry organization. Like we have the membership committee, we have external affairs, we have finance, and also this technical committee, which I have the pleasure of currently being the chair of, where we try to come up with technical responses to questions. For example, at the moment we are preparing a document on this problem of exchanging components within an approved ballast water management system. So highly technical, the entire discussion. Even though BEMA is still a quite, well, new kid on the block when it comes to the ballast water discussion, our members represent more than 90% of the currently installed ballast water management systems on a global scale. So BEMA really has a good representation in the market, and our members know of all the technical details and the difficulties when it comes to different ballast water equipment, different chip types, different trading routes, different requirements. And also we cover the major, our members cover the major technologies that are on the market. Is it electrochlorination, UV treatment, chemical injection, or physical treatment of ballast water systems? And as said already, our charter members must have a valid approved, a valid type approval either from the US or from the IMO. Otherwise, you couldn't become a charter member. And then we have a number of, and a growing number of associated members, and they represent people who supply technology to ballast water treatment equipment or who are involved in testing the equipment for type approval. So we try as an organization to cover different aspects. And again, our membership is spread over Europe, Asia, and North America. And if you have been involved in identifying ballast water treatment systems for ships, you may have seen some of these logos, because these are our members, and all of them are in the market and very present and involved. The associated members you see here, these are companies, for example, also like HAT. They are supplying analytical tools for ballast water management systems and for testing them. We do have organizations like Redlift Testing Labs or SGS who help testing and certifying systems, but we also have members like FilterSafe and HYDAC, for example, who supply the very vital tool of filters to systems. So we can have internally direct discussions, but as an organization, we can provide advice to ship owners when it comes to, well, would it be suitable to have a system with or without a filter, or what are the potential problems that I could face when I apply a technology? BEMA's also engaged in a number of activities. Well, for sure, we are in current discussions with the regulating authorities like the IMO, Coast Guard, EPA. We are also involved in discussions with, let's call us discussions with those who apply the technologies, like Intercargo, like ICS, like German Ship Owner Association, and many others. So what we try to do is to bring the technical facts of ballast water treatment as a management option. It's not the only management option that there is, but it's the most efficient and it's the most critical when it comes to shipboard operations. So we try to discuss that at very different levels with a broad audience to get the technical point across. We are also, as you can see here, because we are presenting to you to bring the word across that BEMA exists and that we are available for questions, that we are open for discussions, and that we would actually like to invite everybody to share their concerns with us, so we as an organization can learn from that and share your concerns with our members, and that may help to get to maybe even to another step in technology for even more efficient ballast water treatment systems. Because the current situation is that from a regulatory point of view, we do have a convention, it is in place until 2024. Nearly all ships will have to have ballast water management systems installed. And at the moment, we are in something called the experience building phase. That's sort of a time loop that the IMO has constructed into the process, where they are collecting data on currently installed systems, and they are trying to get more technical detail, how the systems operate on ships. Is it really working? Should we change the convention again? Oops, did I say change the convention again? It took more than a decade to come to this convention and to get it into place. And now in at the end of the experience building phase, there's going to be another round of review and potential revision of the convention. So where does that leave a ship owner? If you install a system today, you are sure, well, it's got a certificate, so I'll be safe. And yes, you are, because every installed system is grandfathered for the lifetime of your vessel. So that's okay. But as a manufacturer, and this is where BEMA comes into play, you are currently and constantly trying to balance between further R&D, addressing practical aspects on the vessels, and still pleasing the administration and regulators, because they're changing the goalpost constantly and continuously. And I'm not even going to start a discussion on the new regulations in the US, the new VIDA, because this is going to be a completely different animal. So yes, we're active on a global scale by presenting BEMA at different meetings. And no, as an organization, we don't have any commercial interests. We want to be a spokes tool and a discussion platform for the industry when it comes to ballast water. And this is where you can reach out to us, or how you can reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to hear from you and to address every question you may have and to go into discussions with you. And with that, we've saved 2 minutes. Yeah. Thank you.